Hey guys, welcome back to another week and another video. In this video we are going to explain a lot of details concerning a well-known manga that everyone is hyped for right now, and just how this one moment changes everything. This manga is none other than One Piece, and I will be explaining today why everyone is hyped over the latest manga leaks, as well as trying to explain why they are so hyped over the wrong reasons. So before you grab those pitchforks, I have to say the latest reveal and the awakening of Luffy's fruit is so much more different than we all thought. And Oda has been playing us for fools all those years, and we fell for it. NANI? Hook, line, and sinker. I've had my own theories that I never shared with anyone before about the anime. You see, I am the overthinking type. I dive into every little detail and come up with stories, theories, and everything on the fly about them. I am that annoying kind of friend that has to over-explain everything and search for a meaning for everything, even if there isn't one. I have been watching this show for years now, and I practically grew up with it, so it makes sense that I will try and dig deeper to find the truth in a universe I already love and know, since I am also a huge enthusiast of myths, legends, and god stories. Like the Journey to the West, I just couldn't not notice the subtle similarities between those two over the years. And believe me, they are many some of us might have noticed while others missed, but today I will dive into all those, explaining how they all tie up to the truth about Luffy, his Devil Fruit awakening, and why it is all happening. We start off with how the world of One Piece is built and the factions in it. No doubt there is a lot of species in the world, and Oda did a great job in creating such a wide world with that many unique beings in it. But the most unique of all those, and the least spoken of, are two races, or factions if you wish. The D, or the devils, described only as the enemies of heaven, and the heavenly dragons, the rulers of the One Piece world, residing in Marijoy, controlling the whole fabric of reality of this world and manipulating the Marines to do their bidding. They are the sworn enemies of the D clan and said to have gone to countless wars against them, before almost exterminating all the remnants of the D clan for reasons we do not know, except the fact that they were dangerous to the world government, or heaven. And we come to the shadowy figure that we know nothing about that has a straw hat that clearly is for a giant. Enter Joyboy, the most mysterious figure and probably the most important one in the One Piece universe. But let's leave that for another day. Let's go back to Luffy and how he came to be, and how his powers transformed over the time, and I will show you slowly, but surely, how my theory ties up to everything happening in Wano right now. Luffy ate the devil fruit of Gomu no Mai, which, as Shanks explained to Luffy, it translated to rubber. But what if Shanks lied? What if he told Luffy what he needed to hear only, and nothing else? Luffy also was able to say and repeat the exact same words that Roger the Pirate King used to say, and it's one of the reasons Shanks gave him the straw hat, one of his most important possessions ever since it belonged to none other than Roger. But all those are facts we already know. It's time to go into the juicy details and dive into the reason of this video. Luffy's fruit is a mythical Zoan type, which explains why the fruit was important for Shanks in the first place, as well as explains why Luffy's abilities now make sense. Starting off with his elasticity and his enlargement abilities. I mean, okay, rubber can stretch, but this stretching isn't normal for rubber. And we can especially notice that in his more iconic attacks like Gear 3rd going into the gears, there is also Gear 4th, Bounce. Man and Snake, man the first time, the Bounce man debuted. I was like, damn, this reminds me so damn much of Wizen. If you ever played the game Asura's Wrath, then you know who I'm talking about. And the next thing that came to mind with his multiple Kong bearish attack was Asura himself, which is taken from the Monkey King as reference. Speaking of Kong Gun, have you ever thought about how or why he gave his attacks those names with the theory of him being actually a mythical Zoan? And none other than the legendary sun god Nika. It more than makes sense now, especially with the way his body elasticity works, stretching to almost no limits, as well as explains how his attacks in the Snake Man form are able to immediately change directions, since as Kaido implied in their fight, rubber shouldn't be able to do that. But what if it wasn't rubber? If we relate back to the actual Monkey King, His most famous weapon is an ever-stretching pillar used to hold up the seas and oceans and measure their depth. We have seen time and time again Luffy's body stretching to almost no limits and magically retracting in an instant back to its place, just like the properties of the weapon from folktales. This theory can also explain how in the hell Luffy was able to use Red Hawk in the first place and mimic it just exactly like Ace with the stance, the power, output, all of it. You see, this might be a far stretch, but one of the Monkey King powers was to mimic any weapon or attack he saw and use it against its user, adding insult to his injury. And not only that, the Monkey King is actually also a master of all elements, including, you guessed it, fire. This theory also makes sense so much now since it explains why Luffy was able to hear Zunisha's cries in the first place. In the final panel of the manga released, Zunisha senses Luffy's awakening and proclaims that their savior is finally back, aka Joyboy himself. This also ties back to how flustered, pissed, and irritated the Gorosei, where as they could also sense the awakening Luffy is undergoing, ordering the CPO corpse to eliminate Luffy immediately before it happens, even if he was fighting Kaido Luffy's elimination before the becoming was necessary. And just like we saw, the CPO were able to stop the final attack Luffy mustered in a similar manner to how Oden was tricked and backstabbed way back then. Zunisha holds the answers we seek, and the reason to why this is happening in the first place. The game has a lot of hidden pieces of clues that can be all explained if this revelation and theory is true. It can explain the will of D itself, which I believe is the will of Joyboy given form, which is Luffy. This theory can eventually even give us some insight into the Void Era period and what actually happened during that lost to time period. And poneglyphs are nothing but breadcrumb trails that Joyboy left behind for the Chosen One, his true successor, and the one meant to free Zunisha and topple the world government. Some things that Roger couldn't do in his lifetime due to his illness. And what does Roger have to do with this? Well, what if I told you that Roger was the reincarnation of Joyboy, just like Luffy is, and they had the same fruit all along, explaining the reason behind Luffy being so similar to Roger, to the point that Rayling himself reminisced on Roger's words, just as Luffy said them, the exact same words the King of Pirates said. And it happened on multiple occasions as well, especially with the Skypia, when Luffy points to the sky and says the same words Roger said, to the sky. It also explains the presence and existence of 4 Yonko, being the rulers of the North, South, East, and West. Like in mythology, as well as the concept of Shibukai, which can be linked to the heroes of legends that the gods bestowed immortality upon to fight for them with the heavenly army against Wokong. Also, the Marines High Admiral back in the Marineford War had the power of the Buddha fruit. I know I sound more like a conspiracy theorist by now, and you have all the right to think so, but this theory has been living rent-free in my head for years, and I am so stoked for the fact that I wasn't the only one. The symbolism leading to all those events and linking to the Sun God are everywhere in the world of One Piece. Don't believe me? Well, here is one more bonus and I will be done for now. The mark that was placed on the fishmen and on Boa was the mark of slavery. The mark that they are owned by the celestial dragons like some commodity, a symbol of shame, if anything. And what did Fisher Tiger replace that symbol with? The symbol of the sun. Okay, I did say it was the last link, but just let me give you one more. And this will be it. I promise. Wukong lost his first rebellion against the heavens and was banished, which led to the events of a journey to the west. Luffy lost his first Marine Ford to save Ace and went into training only to reunite with his crew after 2 years and continue their journey. And yes, you can argue that his journey started before Marineford, but the thing is that back then, Luffy saw Ace as the world to him, and had no true motivation to be the Pirate King until his death. He was shocked and bombarded with the fact of life of how harsh it is, and that there are people way stronger than he is, and even stronger than Ace. This was like his awakening and understanding of his true goals, and his cherished bonds with his crew and promise to meet them again and sail the seas. The second link, which can be far-fetched, the gods trying to burn Wokong and failing, is kinda like Enel bursting him with thunder, and Luffy being completely unaffected to it. Okay, this time I promised that this was going to be my last one, but damn guys, this is one hell of a theory, and I hope that all those years and my overthinking and creating theories wasn't for nothing. And that I was partially right about some things, but sadly we can't know for sure, as only time will tell us. So with that, I conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed this theory, and let me know what you guys think. Does this theory hold? And what are your guys' ideas on what is actually happening to Luffy right now? And what will his awakening be? All of his opponents have brought him to this point. The Marineford loss made him train his Hakai and perception powers. His encounter with Daffy, which gave him the idea of what an awakening is. His fight with Katakuri awakened a new form of his true powers, as well as his perception. Hakai, all this led to this point, and the fight with Kaido. As always, don't forget to like, share, and definitely don't forget to subscribe. If you want any more of these crazy theories, or if you have any suggestions for other anime with theories you want us to discuss, then please place them in the comments down below. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.